You may have heard that 60 Minutes just did a feature about the opioid epidemic featuring an ex-DEA agent who is a whistleblower, and it's something that we need to talk about right now, so stay tuned. What's up, everybody? This is Chris from The Rewired Soul, where we talk about the problem, but focus on the solution. And I'm gonna be honest with you right now, this is gonna be talking a lot about the problem and just a little bit of the solution, because there are a lot of problems that have gotten us to the place that we're at today, which is causing tens of thousands of people to die each year from prescription opioid overdoses.
My name is Joe Ranazizi.
My story on 60 Minutes this week is about a former DEA agent who saw the opioid epidemic growing and tried to stop it and ran into a brick wall in the form of Congress.
16,651 people in 2010 died of opiate overdose, okay? Opiate-associated overdose. This is not a game.
So what you saw right there is a nice little summary of what this episode of 60 Minutes was about. And I will put a link to it in the description below. You can watch the whole thing online so you know that I'm not making this stuff up. But in this video, I'm going to summarize it, talk about my points, my opinions, some suggestions about how we combat this thing. So this clip I just showed you is Mr. Ranazizi, who was a DEA agent, and his department was in charge of keeping these pharmaceutical distributors under control to make sure that they weren't doing anything that could potentially danger the public, cause people to die. And they started to see a long time ago when Purdue Pharma started falsely marketing OxyContin as this amazing pain medication that is non-addictive, and we started to see people become addicted left and right. John Oliver did a great episode on this. I'll put a link to that in the description below as well. But they were basically saying, hey, do this and it's gonna be amazing, and they backed it with just millions of dollars and marketed the crap out of it. They had people coming out and saying, hey, I used to be in pain and now I'm not. And when they did a follow-up feature, what they found was a few of the people who were in that original ad, they were dead. And they also followed up with a grandma whose prescription drug addiction led to a heroin addiction. So when Ranazizi saw this, he started saying, okay, what's the problem? How can we combat this? Because when these medications started to come out and just go all over the country, there were these pill mills popping up left and right. They were on freeway exits. They were just everywhere. And basically these were places where people could just go get prescriptions for these drugs and take them. So they were basically legalized drugs.
You know the implication of what you're saying, that these big companies knew that they were pumping drugs into American communities that were killing people.
That's not an implication, that's a fact. That's exactly what they did.
Like in that clip, he's talking about it. He's not just implicating that these people were doing something that was killing thousands of people. Like, these are facts. They were actually doing this. So they were looking for a bottleneck. Where do we stop this? And they started looking at the three major distributors of these drugs. And you're never gonna believe what you're about to see in this clip.
They saw distributors shipping thousands of suspicious orders. One example, a pharmacy in Kermit, West Virginia, a town of just 392 people, ordered 9 million hydrocodone pills over 2 years.
All right, did you see that? This city has a population of just a little over 300 people, and within 2 years, 9 million prescription opioids were sent to this city. So what the DEA was doing was saying, look at this is not right. These distributors were saying, well, there's no way for us to really track the suspicious transactions, but it's pretty simple. There are millions and millions and millions and millions of pills going to this city that only has a little over 300 people. That should be a red flag. So the DEA tried to pursue this and make restrictions so this couldn't happen. And they actually were able to fine a few of these distributors for tens of millions of dollars. What started happening is, since these pharmaceutical companies have so much money and a lot of people are making money off this, they started putting up these roadblocks by getting involved with government. Some of this started with this guy right here, Lyndon Barber.
Lyndon Barber used to work for the DEA. He wrote the Marino Bill.
Hi, my name's Lyndon Barber. I'm the director of the DEA Litigation and Compliance Practice in Quarles and Brady's Health Law Group. Barber went through the revolving door. He left his job as Associate Chief Counsel of the DEA and within a month joined a law firm where he lobbied Congress on behalf of drug companies and wrote legislation. He advertised what he could offer a client facing DEA scrutiny.
If you have a DEA compliance issue, or you're facing a government investigation, or you're having administrative or civil litigation involving the Controlled Substances Act, I'd be happy to hear from you.
Yes, you are hearing this correct. Lyndon Barber was somebody who spent a career in the DEA fighting against these distributors. He leaves the DEA so he can now represent these distributors and help combat the DEA. Not only that, but he wrote a bill that ended up getting passed, and this bill was putting more restrictions on the way the DEA could go after these distributors for sending way too many medications to these places where people are clearly becoming addicted. And we started to see this trend just keep happening. A lot of people formerly with the DEA started representing these companies that are killing people. And the reason why they were making that switch, the almighty dollar. And I cannot tell you, I am sickened and disgusted. I am in a very bad mood, and I'm a really happy guy. And this is part of just a societal issue where money is king and power is king. I can't even comprehend how these people sleep at night, knowing that they're switching over to the bad guys team to help find ways to get more of these drugs out to people. And this feature from 60 Minutes really blew my mind, because even though I've seen the numbers going up with the death tolls, like currently there are still more people dying of prescription drug overdoses than heroin and cocaine combined. And I thought we were combating it, but this bill actually just passed about a year or two ago, and it went straight through Congress without any type of resistance at all. So at the height of the opioid epidemic, they passed a bill that would make it harder for these places to illegally distribute these drugs at which people are getting addicted to.
It is my understanding that Joe Ranazizi, a senior DEA official, has publicly accused we sponsors of the bill of, quote, supporting criminals, unquote. This offends me immensely.
So that clip right there that you just saw, that's one of the guys who sponsored this bill, and he's talking about being offended when my man Ranazizi got pretty harsh with him. And it's like, yeah, dude, like, because this is real. This is real. You know what's happening in our country. You can see it. You see tens of thousands of people. And what they're trying to do is trying to shift your view over to heroin. But we know based on statistics, or you could talk to any heroin addict ever, and pretty much all of them started off with prescription opioids. Like, what bugs me the most is that you see so much anger and disgust and hatred for these drug addicts or these heroin addicts. We call them junkies. We look at them like they're scum. And we are living in a society where we are creating these people. People are looking for a way to numb out. We have more people struggling with depression than ever in the history of this country. So in order to combat this depression, what are they doing? They're turning to drugs. They're finding these prescription medications. And if you watch the live stream that my mother and I just did yesterday, we talked about how Nevada is cracking down on this stuff. California's doing it too. A lot of other states are doing it as well. And this is something we should all be afraid of, is because the government is being influenced by these pharmaceutical companies and these distributors. These distributors and pharmaceutical companies are giving millions and millions and millions of dollars to Congress, and we are seeing the scales tip towards their favor, and it is absolutely mind-blowing. This guy who sponsored the bill is now nominated to be the drug czar. That is insane. We might as well get Tony Montana, aka Scarface himself, to be the drug czar. That is how insane that is. This is something that I try to talk about all the time, is that we live in this society where we tell people that they need medications in order to overcome any type of pain or illness, when it's absolutely not true. The United States prescribes 82% of the world's entire supply of opioids. Are we literally the only country who struggles with pain? And that leads to my next topic. Like, I also think it's a little bit, I don't even know if ironic is the right word, because I know a lot about advertising and how they do this, but every single ad in this 60 Minutes special looks like this.
You have kidney problems, glaucoma, trouble urinating, or an enlarged prostate. These may worsen with Spiriva Respimat. Side effects include sore throat, sinus infection, bronchitis, and headache. Do not take Spiriva Respimat with other anticholinergic medicines. Get your breathing upgrade. Ask your doctor about...
That's right. In this 27-minute special that you can watch online, and if you watch it, you will see exactly what I'm talking about. Every single ad is for some kind of medication. And you know, it's those typical those medication ads where they say, do you have these symptoms? Well, this drug's gonna help you. Now here's the long list of side effects that we're gonna try to make it so you don't really listen to, because there's something goofy going on in the background. And if you want this drug, go talk to your doctor about it. Like, here's one of the issues and why we have to crack down so much on doctors, which then spreads out to the pharmacies and pharmaceutical companies. It's because some doctors, just to get people in and out, they're basically becoming like waiters. You go in there and say, hey, I saw a commercial for this drug. Can you give it to me? And they're like, yeah, sure, whatever, here you go. And then it's like, follow up with me and let me know if you have any of these insane side effects that they just listed. Like, we are marketing drugs more than any other country on earth. So is it really any wonder that people are turning to all these different medications like all the time? But like I said, I just cannot believe that 60 Minutes is doing a special on this, but every single one of their advertisers is for medications, and they did this specifically because the topic was about prescription medications. So something that bums me out, and I guess it's a good thing for me since I am a YouTube creator trying to get people to start caring about this, as you can see right here, there are barely any views. When you type in 60 Minutes opioid crisis about this special that just came on, nobody's looking for it. It doesn't have any views. Meanwhile, Jake Paul, Logan Paul, Rice Gum, all these other people are getting millions of views on the daily for just doing ridiculous stuff. But the stuff that we should be caring about, like our own, fellow citizens dying because of what's going on in our government and what's going on in our country, like, it's crazy that more people don't care about this stuff. But that's why I encourage all of you to just share my videos, share this stuff. Let's talk about this. We need to start looking at this stuff, because the solution is, the solution is that we need to start getting involved with our local governments, because we start influencing our local governments, then we start influencing the national government, and we start telling them that no, we do not want this. And I could do a whole video about how our society specifically, we are taught to be very impatient, we are taught to be in a hurry, so these medications are thrown at you because they alleviate symptoms like that, but at what cost? So let's talk about this.
What about declaring a written national emergency for this crisis? You've talked about it, but you haven't put that piece of paper together. Next week. That's next week.
By the way, that's
next
a big
week.
step. By the way, people have no understanding of what you just said. That is a very, very big statement. It's a very important step. And to get to that step, a lot of work has to be done, and it's time-consuming work. We're going to be doing it next week, okay?
Thank you.
And that's my question of the day, everybody. Donald Trump states that even though months ago he announced that he was going to sign a bill saying that this is a national emergency with the opioid epidemic, he just told us that this is going to be signed next week. So leave your comments below. Let me know if you think that he is actually going to follow through with this and if he's going to be signing that. But other than that, we need to just start working together on this thing. Never think that just because you're one person, you can't do anything. I'm living proof of this. Like, I know I'm not some gigantic YouTuber right now, but the fact that I have 340 people subscribe to me, I just hit 10,000 views in the last 3 months, that means that people are out there, they're listening, they care. Not as many as I would like, but people are listening. So every one of us has the power to influence change. But the most we can do is just be there for one another. When we start helping each other, being more loving, more kind, more generous to our fellow human beings, they start hurting less, not only physically, but mentally, spiritually, whatever you want to call it. And they don't need to turn to medications or any other substance or even alcohol in order to feel a certain way, because they're building that connection with us, and then they start building that connection with themselves. So if you know anybody who's struggling with addiction, like, please reach out. Like, you can email me anytime and I will provide you with resources. In fact, in the info card right here, I will put a link to the video I made about 3 ways to go to rehab if you don't have insurance. I work for a nationwide addiction rehab company as well. So if you want to privately pay, or if you have health insurance, I can personally help you out, because we have facilities all over the country, but I also have resources all over the country. Like, this thing is not just going to stop on its own. We need to come together and we need to do something. So again, make sure you answer the question of the day down below. Let me know if you think that this national emergency is going to be signed. Share this video, increase the awareness. Again, the link is in the description. If you would like to watch this 60-minute special, I encourage all of you to watch it. Share it on Facebook, share it on Twitter. Let's start talking about this thing and spreading awareness. But anyways, if you like this video, if you like me doing topics like this, covering the recent news, give this a thumbs up. And if you're new here, right below this little box, click that little round subscribe button, because not only am I talking about addiction and mental health news, but most of my channel is filled with videos to help you with your mental health. And you can also click or tap to the side of me and check out a bunch more of my videos. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.